everyone, and welcome to Look Down There, the show where we talk about all the things we don't talk about. I'm your host, Michelle Amore. Today, my guest is the epitome of burlesque, and I don't even know what to say about this woman. I have known her and worked with her for the past 17 years, which I just realized. She has toured with Dita for the past decade. She has modeled and been inspiration for many fashion photographers like Karl Lagerfeld, who says she is so full of life. She is the icon of burlesque, legend of burlesque in New York City and beyond. Please welcome Miss 44 and plenty more, Dirty Martini.
Hi, Michelle. It's so good to see you.
Hi, Dirty. Yes, 17 years and we're still kicking.
Isn't it amazing? Like when you look, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, and then you look back and you're like, oh shit, I've done a lot.
Right,
like
I
more
know.
than a lot of people have done in their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about this morning because I think the first time I met you was in 2004 at the ranch in Hallandale at Exotic World. And that was the year that you won. And that was the first year that I competed. And I mean, I was in way over my head. I had no idea what was going on. And, you know, all of us are in the desert. Our eyelashes are being blown away and people are burning their feet on the stage because it's so hot in the desert. And I'm just this little baby burlesquer. And I didn't even see you perform. I was in the little merch area. I think I was chatting up with Kit Natividad at the time. And I remember someone coming in and saying, well, Dirty Martini just won. She just killed it. And I was like, who's that?
That's so funny because I saw your performance that time and I was very blown away by your ingenuity and how beautiful it was because it was all black. And it was so stunning against the background of the desert because the desert is so bright. And you had rigged a water bottle to make it rain over your umbrella. And I thought, God, it was one of those moments. You always have these moments in burlesque where you watch somebody and you go, why didn't I think of that? I'm so dumb. That was brilliant.
I cannot believe you remember that.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. And you were so beautiful with the backdrop of the bright desert. And then you were all very like black, and I don't even remember the music, but the tone was very like Edward Gorey, it felt like. It was very beautiful.
Yeah, the music I used was Take It Off the E String, Barbara Stanwyck. That I can't remember the name of that movie. But
Oh yeah, the G-String Murders. Yeah, but was called. Oh wait, I have it right here. Not Ball of Fire. I actually have the Stanwyck poster right here.
Oh, nice. It might be Ball of Fire. Yeah, it's a great song. Take It Off the E String, play it on the G String.
Yeah.
Very clever. Yeah.
Da 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 da. I keep breaking out in bumps.
You're so good. You're so great. I'm so happy to see you. Okay, so let's chat. So you started off doing ballet. You were a very seriously trained ballet dancer. How did that affect your self-image moving into burlesque?
Well, I was always the teen. You know, we're all awkward as teens. I know that now that I've grown up. But then, you know, you're just so involved in your own little hormonal world. But growing up in ballet with all of that, I mean, it's hard enough to be a teen, but then you have all these like adults that you really admire that, you know, are supposed to be guiding you. And then they're all telling you you're too fat to do the thing that you want to do the most in your whole life. And the only thing that's going to get you to where you want to be is if you lose weight. It wasn't about, you know, because they obviously saw that I had some talent and some technique and, you know, and I worked really hard. So it couldn't have been about those things. It was just about what I looked like. So to be a teen growing up in that atmosphere where all the adults around you, including my mother, who I love, were telling me that I was just too fat for the thing I wanted to do that was the be all end all of my entire I'm becoming myself, like I was never happier than dancing around the dance studio or being on stage. And I tried swim team, I tried visual arts, I tried singing, I tried all these things. And I was quite good at some of them, but they just never kind of stuck like dance did. Like dance was something I had to do. And if you're in the arts, everyone will tell you that. It's like, if you don't have to do it, you're going to do something else because it's just too painful.
Right. Yeah. I mean, especially in dance, because what you have to put your body through is just so tremendous. And, not to dismiss the other disciplines, but dance is something different. You grow up in the dance world thinking that you have a limited shelf life, right? And I didn't grow up in the dance world. I started late. I started when I was 15, but just like you, it was like an obsession. It was like, I have to do this. I practiced all the time, but also got the same remarks. Or maybe I didn't, maybe I put it on myself. I'm not sure, but feeling like, I don't look like a dancer. My butt's too big. My thighs are too big. And just the whole environment of dance itself is really body shaming. Even just in how the instructors speak to us, right? Like already at a young age, you might be 15, 16, your instructor might be 25 or 30, and they're there talking about how old they are. Mm-hmm. And what does that do to you, right? So I the whole time was thinking like, well, I better get all my dancing in by the time I'm 30.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And quite honestly, like in the dressing room, that's the thing that teachers don't see is what the kids are talking about. So you have to be really careful when you talk to children because they're children, even if they are in something professional, a professional course, like the professional school here where all the Broadway kids go. The kids are talking to each other. And so one day when I went into the dressing room, the topic of discussion was, how are you going to lose weight? And all these girls were so tiny in my eyes, like they were little scrawny things. And it was when I looked in the mirror, it was like skinny, 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 me, skinny, 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 skinny. And this one girl had said that she had eaten cotton balls and drank water, and that's how she was, losing weight this week. And so everybody was like, "Oh, that's a good idea," And I even thought about doing it for a second. And you hear about this stuff, but you don't think as an adult that it would, that people are really doing this. In fact, my partner, Jeremy, was like, nobody does that. And I was like, yeah, when I was a kid, probably 14, 15, one girl was like, I ate cotton balls. And then it wasn't just that, you could just dismiss that. But then we went into class and the teacher made an example of her about how gorgeous she looked.
Oh, yeah, just reinforcing that.
So everybody was like, regardless if it was technique or if she lost 5 pounds or whatever it was that the teacher saw, she looked a little taller that day because she was starving herself to death with cotton balls. We as a group got to see that she was picked out as the one that's the important one and the one that you should follow because she's doing it right. And it just really blew my mind. I think I starved myself that night. Like, I think I only ate I had some orange juice. I was on some weird juice fast, but juice is all sugar. I didn't get organic juices when I was a kid. I was drinking Tropicana
all day. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I'm on a juice fast. I went to bed without dinner.
Yeah. You were pioneering the juice fast craze.
Yeah, we were doing 600 calories a day and then 800 calories a day and then 1,200 calories a day. And then kind of mixing it up a little bit so that you trick your body into losing weight. That was another diet we did.
But then how much are you dancing a day? So you only have that many calories. How many hours are you dancing?
Well, when I got to a very professional time, I would be dancing after school every day, like 2 hours and then rehearsal, something like that. But then, there's always gym and school, which I was always too tired to do.
Yeah.
I'm not running around. I got to dance tonight.
Right. Yeah, I can't use my muscles like that. I have to dance.
Totally. I'll bulk up.
Right. Yeah, that was always my like, oh, I can't run, It's not good for me. I'm a dancer.
Yeah, but then, your teachers see this fat kid being lazy in gym class. And then there's more pressure.
Wow. So how did you get over that? I mean, that's such a mentally taxing, emotionally taxing position. How did you get yourself out of that?
Well, I don't think that you ever pull yourself out of that completely. I mean, it's childhood trauma. It maybe not as bad as other people's traumas, but it's not a race. So I don't think that there's any way to ever really you can't get over it, but you can't, it just never goes away. It's always a part of you. And I think in a way I've come to terms with that poor young thing. And I made a conscious decision actually when I turned about, I think 20. I had problems in college because I went the college course and did Purchase College, which was, it was a choice between Juilliard and Purchase, but Purchase accepted me first. And Juilliard, I was going in on some kind of weird weight probation thing. I mean, I went into Purchase that way too, but somehow they changed their academic. It looked like I was getting Fs, basically. If you were on weight probation in the school, it was as if you didn't attend class because they would just fail you. Oh. So they managed to get rid of that like the second year I was in school, but they still did this thing where you had to be accepted back into school in your sophomore year. So I had a big awakening around my sophomore year where I was like, am I going to let these bitches push me around? Am I going to let this control my life? It's like I've been the same weight this whole time, less if I really was dieting and exercising more. But like I'd always been the kind of same weight, and they always have a problem with it, whether I was tiny or big. So in my eyes. So I just had this awakening where I just said, that's enough. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hating myself. I'm tired of being the one that's wrong. And so I think there are moments like that in your life where you do just stop the madness, It's like that with injuries now. I'm like, oh, what did I do to myself? But no, I have I have a bone growing in my joint. Like it's like a pearl in the back of my knee. Like it's not me, it's my body that's doing a natural function. So, so there are certain ways that you can kind of let yourself off the hook that I've learned. And burlesque was a big part of that, like coming to burlesque and approaching it as I didn't know at the time, but it was a way to help accept myself as a sexual being, as a naked being, just as a being in general, a spiritual person.
Yeah, I mean that's so healing. Burlesque has definitely been so healing for me too. And really, all the lessons I've learned in life have been through burlesque and working with people like yourself. And to me, you are so free with your body, and also your energy and your love. I think you're just a very generous person. And they call me the most naked woman. However, I think you, at least backstage, are the most naked woman. Like one of my
everywhere I can be, everywhere where it's not freezing cold. That's why I hate the winter.
Yeah, like I remember again, like I was a younger, like little baby burlesquer, and you were backstage naked, and then you just spread eagle, and I was like, what? What's going on here? Yeah.
I don't know. For me, it's less about exhibitionism. It's so funny. I always think about women. We have our parts on the inside. Mm-hmm. So how is it that we're exhibitionists more than men are? I really don't get that. Our are we blamed for that?
Right.
When guys are the ones sending us the dick pics. I don't think women are, going around sending somebody they don't know pictures of their pussy.
However, if they were, I don't think guys would have a problem with it. I think they'd be like, what's the problem? I think
No, they probably would in our generation. They'd just be like, God, she's such a slut. Why is she sending me that? And then they'd be like, meh.
Right? Yeah. Now with OnlyFans, some of the requests I get are really interesting, and I'm like, I think that's pretty cute that you have that amount of courage to say that to somebody. Some of these things.
I'm curious because Julie Atlas Muse and I were just talking about that with OnlyFans. We think it's such a interesting phenomenon that now that we're all shut down, a lot of us are going to OnlyFans. And so I've been super curious about experiences like that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, here's my thing. I don't enjoy doing things that people ask me to do. So like if I'm doing something that I find is artistic or fun and you happen to see my butthole, fine. If you ask me specifically to see it, I'm not going to show it to you.
That's private.
Right? I'm just like, no, like if my art calls for it and it happens, it's fine, but I'm not just going to do it.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure that's what was going on in my mind when I spread eagle in the dressing room. I mean, it wasn't to show anybody anything they didn't want to see, which is something you rarely have to consider these days, that people are very sensitive about, their issues, and that's important. And I think it's a good thing that people are talking more about what triggers them and, but me, I'm just like, shit, I got to stretch before the show and I don't have a robe.
It was just practical nudity, really.
Practical, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
but, if somebody likes to jerk off to that, that's fine. Throw me $5 and don't tell me about it, please.
Exactly. No, but that moment sticks out in my head because, like I've gone through my own kind of vulva shame and done a lot of work to get over that. So that was such a big moment for me because I was like, oh, I don't know how she can do that and be so free. And so that kind of stuck with me, even though it was such a silly and practical naked moment. It did stick with me.
Remember when we had our photo shoot in socks with no clothes on? I don't know why we did that. We had matching socks. It was so cold.
Yeah, the amount of like naked sock photos I have, like I wear those little tiny ankle socks. It is cold backstage. My feet get cold.
Yeah. I remember we did a photo shoot backstage when you were with Dita in the show in Chicago, but it was so cold. Yes, it's Chicago.
Right. Oh, yeah. Expect nothing less there, I swear. So you exhibit so much confidence, but do you ever experience doubt, self-doubt? And if so, how do you move through that doubt?
Yeah, I think everybody, has self-doubt. I told one time, I have a father who is a kind of, I don't talk to all the time. He's somebody that I'm not very close to, but he's my dad, and he has a new wife who's getting to know me, and she's really awesome. But one time when we performed with Dita and Charlotte, my dad saw me perform burlesque for the first time, which, I've been doing burlesque for 20-something years. So it's kind of amazing that he got to see the show. He loved Dita. He thought it was great. And he dressed up really cute. So my family came to see me perform, the part of the family that I don't see that often down in Charlotte. And when I was in the car going to dinner with them before the show, my dad's wife said to me, do you ever regret anything? Meaning about the nudity. Like I kind of didn't understand the question at first because do you have any regrets about being in burlesque, I guess is what the question was. But it's kind of related to that shame thing, is like, do you have shame around it? And it just it was so funny that the question at first went over my head because I didn't understand what she meant by shame. But because I don't have shame around nudity, and I'm certainly not an exhibitionist, so I don't like to make people feel uncomfortable with my nudity. I think it's hilarious when I go to a nude beach that's all gay men and they turn around like, the Western doors swing open and closed. They're like, what the fuck?
Silent. Yeah. The wind blows. Yeah.
They just don't know what to do with me because I'm like not there for sex. I'm just there because I like to have an even tan and I enjoy swimming in nature, like nude, the way we're brought into the world. So when she asked me that question, I went back to it and I said, well, yeah, the thing that brings me the most, that I've struggled with the most about being in burlesque is if I'm doing enough. Like I always feel like, have I maxed out every little angle that I have of this thing that I have, because this thing is so amazing that I built over my life. And I still feel like I haven't done enough. And like, what corner do I need to sort of veer off into to make it the most of it and make really, have juiced all the juice out of it that I can get in this little time I have left on this earth.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about aging because deal with that when I get there, like I was old when we started.
Well, I mean, that's the great thing about burlesque is that, I'm finding that it doesn't really have an expiration date, so like with dance, it was like, okay, like everything's going to end at 25, at 30, at 35, at 40, and I'm like, I feel better now than I did then, and so it kind of prolongs your dance career, which is great. But
yeah. And I find a lot of dancers that went the dance route after school, like a lot of the professionals, they're coming to burlesque now, like 10 years after their career's over, because they're like, well,
right.
I miss
it. But you mentioned, feeling like not getting enough or like finding all the nooks and crannies. Do you think that you will know when you hit that point, or is there something in you that you want to get to but you haven't gotten to yet?
Well, it's so funny because you can see it so clearly in other people, like when I see Justin Vivian Bond and all the amazing things that they've done with the character that they created, Kiki and Herb. And when I see John Cameron Mitchell, who's like branched out to directing and did Short Bus, but did that whole beautiful Hedwig character in between. And I was there when that was developing. It's so exciting to watch somebody take a character from the experimentation to the full expression of everything it can do. But it's really hard to see that in yourself. And I feel like you're just fighting to pay the rent most of the time.
Yeah, I mean that you
especially now.
That hustle for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so funny to take for granted all the times. I mean, I never take for granted my career and what I've been able to accomplish, but to be able to take for granted the fact that I was able to sustain it for so long, monetarily paying my rent, and I don't give myself that credit. So I guess, I don't know, I guess it may force you into other things, and that's kind of good, I guess.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that this morning too, like, oh, I've been able to sustain myself as an artist for 18 years, like solely with dance, performance, production, teaching, whatever sort of facets that are within this world, I've been able to do that. And you're right. Like it's hard for me to remember, like, this is something to be proud of, right? Because you can just get lost in that hustle and you're like, okay, I got to keep going, keep moving, and feeling like you're not enough, right? Or that you're not doing enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, Neil Kindle just posted that photo of you all triumphant in your panther on top of your panther cage at Raven Noir's show in Blackpool. And I was like, oh, I looked at that and I was like, that is just like the expression of who Michelle Lamore is, you know? And I was like, I was so proud of you in that moment, seeing that beautiful photo of you of like, people don't really understand like how hard that is. What, you know, like those big props, the logistics, you know, creating it, making it you, and like really, yeah, sometimes it comes together easy and sometimes it does not. But to see that picture of you triumphant on your cage, being the panther you are with your beautiful hand over your head like that. And I was like, God, yeah, panthers do that when they hang off a tree like that. And I was like, so brilliant.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of a magical act where everything just kind of whoosh, came into focus, and it was like, that's it. Like, that's where I'm going. Like, this is my expression, you know? And up until that point, I hadn't seen anything like that in burlesque, and I was really nervous about doing it. I remember doing it at Burlesque Hall. I don't remember the year, probably 2008, 7, something like that. And I remember being so nervous about it. But yeah, I mean, it's
talk about pussy confidence.
Exactly. And you know, that was the year that Tempest Storm took that tumble on stage.
Was it?
And the curtains from my cage were wrapped over her to keep her warm. So, you know, I'm glad I could help her in that moment. But
that's funny because I brought a leopard blanket to cover a couch for my act that year. And that was on there too. They just threw everything they could find.
All the blankets, all the curtains.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. I still have a little bit of Tempest Storm blood on my on my cover for that.
Oh my God.
Which is a little macabre, but I kind of love it.
Well, yeah.
A little bit of the magic.
Oh, I'll tell you something here. Okay. I have this piece of underwear that Kaiva gave to me. It came with a dress that I bought that used to belong to Kit Natividad, and she gave me the underwear that came with it. And I don't know whose this underwear, but there's like period blood in the crotch, like all dried up. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but it's kind of great. I don't know who this belongs to, but I'm not wearing these, but I'll keep them.
It didn't have did it have the plastic on it where you, do you ever see that? On a lot of Kaiva's costumes, some of that beading, it's like jewelry. So they would sew a plastic panel where the crotch is into those underwear. So if you see it, I have one, but it doesn't have the plastic in it, I don't think. On the G-string it did, but not on the panty one. But it's like, it's so fully beaded that they had to have, you couldn't wash it. So you could just have a little wipe off portion.
Oh man. So the plastic would be up against your skin?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, and then you just wipe it clean with a cloth when you're done your show with all the sweat. I mean, because there's more than just juices, you know. It's like sweat and makeup and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of brilliant, but yeah, that'd be pretty slippy slidey.
But when I saw my first pair of panties like those, you know, those heavily beaded Kaiva panties, I was like, what's that yellowed piece of plastic that's sewn in?
Was it at least like cupped so it could cup your vulva, or like
no, it was like just a piece of acetate or something that they had just sewn in with the rest of the fabric to kind of protect the netting from the because you know, like the main, I guess if you talk to any historians that deal with costume stuff, they say the main enemy of those costumes is like residue, sweat, and dirt. Like the oils get into the fabric and break the fabric down. So I guess it was like people who knew that and were like, okay, well, let's just keep this going for as long as it'll go, because they did so many shows.
Yeah. Okay, real talk dirty. Do you wash your costumes?
I didn't for a long time. I guess I still don't. It's like the
Yeah.
magic's baked in.
Yeah, I don't either. I will take my posties and I'll just like wash out the crotch and then, but I'll like wear them a few times before I do that. So
Yeah.
I'll have 10 different posties that I wash in the sink and then I let hang dry and then it's like such a scene to see 10 posties just hanging over the shower rod, you know?
I have that too.
Yeah.
With my devil costume, I have a little devil pussy that I wear, and it always gets blood on it, so I have to wash it out. Otherwise, it's like it won't stick because it's got the corn syrup
Yep.
blood on it.
Yep. Like this is burlesque physics, you know, this is what we deal with. But
But apparently, for those out there who want to keep your costumes really well, if you sweat in something, definitely dry clean it or take it to the cleaner or put it in a bathtub full of mild detergents.
yeah.
Like even like a dishwashing liquid is good for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well,
That's if you care about it. If it's a historical costume you're performing in, which sometimes happens.
yeah. Yeah. I will say though, during this pandemic, quarantine, whatever the hell we're in, it's been really nice not to wear pussies all the time. And you know, I've gotten to grow out my hair, experiment with different hairstyles. That's been nice. You know, there's some plus sides to this.
Side sweep.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Yeah, right now
To do its thing down there, you know. I figure that it's got its own sort of biological situation, and as long as nothing's too itchy,
Right.
it should be all right.
Yeah. I just did a full shave. Like when 2021 happened, I was like, all right, new year, new bush. So I shaved off all of 2020. I was like,
That's a great ritual.
here we go. Yeah, I've never done it before, but I think
Did it grow back in really painfully?
yeah, it gets a little itchy. Yeah.
I used to get a little bit like, you know, overzealous down there when I knew I had to wear a pussy or a G-string. But then I'd be on the plane the next day or something, like shifting in my seat, like, oh, that's growing back. After 2 days, you're a little like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. All right. So I know it's the pandemic and there's not like a ton going on, but why don't you let people know where to find you, see you next, virtual shows, whatever you've got going.
Yeah, I have a few virtual shows happening. There's one I just filmed. I get so excited. I'm doing all the editing myself now, and I'm like, oh, this is so fun. I really find it, you know, it's a great way to not exercise if you like editing. It gives you a reason to not exercise. Which for me, it's not so good. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram. That's like the main thing. I just go through the Instagram for now. And usually you'll see posted there whatever show I have going on. I'm thinking of doing a tassel aerobics class. So hopefully by the time this comes out, I want to get my heart rate up, and that's the main thing. So I figure if I have some people with me. So I'm figuring out formats and, you know, if I'll go through the School of Burlesque or if I'll do it on my own. I'm still figuring all those little details out. But yeah, I want to do something because I always find that tassels are so, like, it's fun to get them going so you don't realize you're actually doing low impact aerobics.
Yeah.
So that's the idea.
Like, sneak up on working out. Like I started teaching tease and tone again, and I'm just like, well, I'm doing this as much for me as I am for you all because you're gonna force me to do it. Yeah. Well,
Totally.
tassel sounds fun.
Tassel aerobics. And if you're shy, you just put the little, just get some tassels and like pin it to your top.
Perfect. Well,
Baby steps.
Rudy, I'm so happy to have you today and to see you and share fun stories, and I miss you so much.
I miss you a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dirty. And thank you to all of you who tuned in. Now is the time to spread your legs and spread the love. Like us, share us, subscribe, follow.